The other big buzzword is integration. Well, I'm sorry, there is no integration. All I have seen and all I have witnessed is dilution. Dilution of morals, dilution of faith, dilution of safety. We need to get that back. We do. We need to get that back.
There are about 200 hotels that are housing asylum seekers around this country. So what do you think this means as a precedent for the government?
Epping just proved it: one council, one court, one victory, and 139 migrants are out. Nigel Farage says the dominoes are falling. Every hotel the state grabs could be next. Mums, dads, councils, are you ready to reclaim your community?
There it is. That's your lot. Turn around. France, your problem.
But this has been an issue for ages. I don't know why it's just coming up to the surface now, OK? We've had 14 years of Conservative governments. We've had 1 year of this atrocious Labour government. What is happening? The answer: nothing, right? Nothing. And no one seems to be listening to us, the British public, for safeguarding people. I mean, that's what the government is there to do. That's what we should feel is safe, and we're not.
I totally get that. Totally agree with you. But it's also how communities, and I use that word, just let's think what a community is or what it's supposed to be. They are distorted. They change beyond recognition. You don't know who you're going to bump into. You don't know why people are there. The rules begin to change in your area. Nothing to do with you. It's to do with everybody brought in. I have seen this for myself. And you look and you see, you just can't do this.
No. And the other big buzzword is integration. Well, I'm sorry, there is no integration. All I have seen and all I have witnessed is dilution. Dilution of morals, dilution of faith, dilution of safety. We need to get that back. We do. We need to get that back.
There are about 200 hotels that are housing asylum seekers around this country. So what do you think this means as a precedent for the government? If we see other mums and dads come out on the streets, if we see other legal courses of action being taken in other councils, I mean, what's the alternative?
That is the danger, because this hotel was given this temporary ban because it wasn't used for its purpose that it was granted its licence for. That is the issue. That is the key. Now, we've got 12 local red reform councils, and Farage has said that they are looking into taking taking their council-led hotels to court, the same as Epping District Council has done.
Right. Very interesting. It will develop. Thank you so much for you.
I have watched this whole exchange, and I am struck by how little the guests want to talk about the real engine driving this crisis, the 1951 Refugee Convention, and the way Labour's open-door entitlements turn every small town into a waiting room for the entire world. The Bell Hotel ruling is important, but it is only a splinter. The real plank is the way the left have weaponized human rights law to make deportation almost impossible. People on screen keep saying we inherited a broken system. Nonsense. They are the system now, and they are choosing every single day to keep it broken. Let me lay out some numbers you will not hear on the BBC or in The Guardian. In 2022, the UK granted asylum or other protection to 75,000 people. That is roughly the population of Guildford. In 2023, the figure jumped to 93,000. The Home Office refuses to publish the 2024 total yet, but the monthly run rate is higher still. Those are just the successful claims. Another 143,000 people are still waiting for a first decision, many housed in 4-star hotels at $7 million a day. That 7 million figure is not plucked from the air. It is the Home Office's own estimate given to the Public Accounts Committee last November. Add in the $8 billion annual legal aid budget for asylum appeals, and you are looking at roughly $5 billion a year just to process and accommodate people who have crossed the channel illegally. That is more than we spend on new prison places or on the entire border force. The left tell us this is our moral duty. Let us test that. Denmark, a country run by social democrats, passed a law in 2021 allowing it to move asylum seekers to processing centers outside Europe. The flow across the channel into Denmark dropped by 73 in a year. Italy, led by a center-right coalition, did a deal with Tunisia and cut arrivals by 64 in 2023. Even France, under Emmanuel Macron, has started to pay third countries to take back their own citizens if they turn up in Calais. The British left call these policies racist when Tories suggest them. but they are mysteriously silent when European social democrats do exactly the same. Why does the Epping case matter so much? Because it shows local people the one lever still left in their hands planning law. The 1987 Town and Country Planning Order was never designed for immigration control, yet it is now the only part of UK law the Home Office has not managed to neuter. The Bell Hotel was licensed for tourism, not for a 138-bed male dormitory. The council did not need to prove the residents were dangerous, it only had to prove the owner had changed the use without permission. That is the loophole the left created when they stripped councils of housing powers and centralized everything in Whitehall. Now the same loophole is being turned against them. I expect every reform-run council and a good many conservative ones to copy this tactic within months. The planning register is public. You can look up any hotel on your local council website and see in 5 minutes if the use class matches what is actually happening inside. Some say this is NIMYism. I call it democratic self-defense. The last census showed that 7.4 million people in England and Wales were born abroad. That is 11 of the population, up from 4 in 1991. The pace matters. When communities change slowly, integration can work. When a single hotel is flipped overnight, the local primary school suddenly has 40 extra pupils who do not speak English. The GP list closes to new patients, and the pub that used to host weddings is now fenced off by G4S vans. Integration is not a slogan, it is a finite resource. The left pretend it is limitless because they do not live in the places absorbing the impact. Hampstead, Islington, and Cambridge have not taken a single asylum hotel. Epping, Stoke, Warrington, and Boston have taken dozens. I am told the answer is more houses. Fine. Let us build 100,000 new homes a year. At current rates of legal migration plus asylum, we would still fill them in 18 months. The real issue is not roofs, it is rules. The Dublin regulation used to allow us to return asylum seekers to the first safe country they entered. Theresa May quietly tore that up in 2020 when she was desperate for a Brexit deal. Now the only returns that work are to Albania, because the Albanian government actually takes its citizens back. Even then, the left drag every removal through the courts for months. I want to address the claim that the Bell Hotel residents are mostly vulnerable refugees. The Home Office publishes age and gender data for every hotel. In the first quarter of 2024, 87 of residents in contingency hotels were males aged 18-39. The largest single nationality was Afghan, followed by Iran, Iraq, and Eritrea. All are countries with functioning embassies. None of these men were rescued from the Taliban on a Royal Air Force plane. They paid people smugglers between 2,000 and 10,000 to cross Europe. That is not the behavior of a helpless victim, it is the calculated move of someone shopping for the best welfare deal. The left say we should process them faster. I agree. Let us do in weeks what Australia does in days: rapid offshore processing, a single appeal, and removal to Rwanda or Albania if the claim fails. The current system is not slow by accident, it is slow by design. Labour MPs, charities, and law firms earn money from every extra layer of review. The longer the wait, the higher the legal aid bill, and the more pressure there is for an amnesty. That is why Yvette Cooper talks about closing hotels by the end of this parliament rather than closing the border tomorrow. She needs the hotels as a bargaining chip for the next election. What happens next? I expect 3 things. First, a wave of local planning challenges that will force the Home Office to scatter asylum seekers into smaller hostels, military bases, and eventually disused ferries. Second, a legal counterattack from the NGOs, who will ask the Supreme Court to rule that local councils have no standing to enforce planning law if it clashes with Home Office operational needs. Third, a grassroots revolt within Labour's own ranks. Dozens of Labour MPs in the Red Wall represent towns that have already taken more than their share. They know that every new hotel pushes another 1,000 voters towards reform. Keir Starmer is betting he can ride this out with vague promises. I do not think the mums of Wigan or Hartlepool will give him that luxury. I am not against genuine refugees. I am against the racket that has grown up around them. The left have turned asylum into an industry, and the Bell Hotel ruling is the first sign that the rest of us have had enough. If councils can use planning law to reclaim one hotel, they can reclaim 100. If voters see that peaceful protest works, they will not need to march on Westminster. They will simply turn up to every council meeting with a copy of the planning register and a quiet determination to take back their town. That, more than any ministerial speech, is how we will end the age of asylum hotels.